The fact that human beings are able to have a life experience and simultaneously conceptualize life as something other than that firsthand experience is interesting, because a meatball never wonders what's outside of the bowl of soup. So to be able to ask the question, what is life, insinuates that there is something outside of this bowl of soup. As the meatball, you either question this as a concept that was created by a human being within the system as a way out, or you can see it as a real blueprint or clue that was left by whatever exists outside of this life, aka this bowl of soup. But evidence of self-awareness, I think, is a sign, evidence that is a sign of self-awareness and awareness of environment as well. So, what to do with life? Well, the things that you learn are like locks on doors that open to let new experience in. And you may not be constantly thinking about the facts that you know or the way shit works in general, but once it's been compartmentalized in your psyche, your subconscious takes care of it. And so this is why people start to notice certain colors after they buy a car that's red, or, you know, they see the same haircut that they just got. But the more you know about the way it works, the more you can conceptualize about the way that it might work. And so in thinking about trees, you have everything you need to know. A tree is a perfect example of a self-explanatory, metaphor, because A, it's alive, B, it's multidimensional, C, it is a contained system, but it also operates within, its environment, just like anything. And anything is a good example because the universe is one. What I mean by this is, on a fundamental level, only a few things exist, no matter where you are. There are higher levels of processing that realities can be boiled down to, and those processes are what really governs everything. One might speculate they are more real than the actual result of the process. You know what I mean? Your soup cools off when you stir it, but it's the stirring that cools it off. Without the stirring, there is no cooling of the soup. But a tree is a multi-level system. And at the core level, you have consciousness. And we know trees have consciousness because they shed their leaves to help other trees that aren't getting enough sunlight. So that's awareness. If they're not aware that they're missing sunlight, there's no signal for them to drop the leaves. Geometry is the language in which we use, or in which humans have historically used to describe the physical world. conceptually and materialistically. You have symmetries in the leaf patterns. You have concentric circles in the trunk. But what's interesting to me is the multi-dimensionality of a tree. You see, it starts in the same way that the universe did, as a little seed. And then the second the seed cracks, the sapling peeks through. In fact, it cracks because the sapling is peeking through. You know what I'm saying? Just like the explosion, the Big Bang at the beginning of time, it explodes. Well, then what? Now here's where the path splits, because geometrically speaking, it grows in a straight line. Well, what's really happening is the sun exists. And somehow, this little sapling knows that the light that is hitting its skin and being turned into energy with the nutrients in the soil that become plant material, it knows where that light is coming from. How? Because it's aware. There are levels to trees. They're alive. They have physical dimensions, but looking at the leaves on a tree and looking at the roots in the dirt are going to give you two different conclusions. If you just see a tree root, you don't know about leaves. You know what I'm saying? But all that shows is that somewhere in the developmental process of the tree growing, it reaches its lower dimensional conclusions. You know, it eventually hits a certain height limit, and then the one-dimensional aspect of it is gone. So then it starts growing outward, okay? And then it develops leaves that have different angles. You know, they don't go up and down. It's not about that. It's about the flat surface, and it's more about the surface area. Surface area implies two dimensions, you know, whereas length implies one. This is what I mean by multidimensional. So this underlying process of the actualization of hyperdimensionality in the physical world is how everything is manifested. That is the law that governs existence. Something exists, something happens, and then the consequence. You know what I mean?